A lot of times I hear people talk about what a bad bullet is, or that's a bad shot, that's a good shot, and they focus too much on the pass-fail mentality of hitting the intended target. Hey, what's up guys, Tactiholics here, and today I wanted to give you a little bit of insight as far as my opinion when talking about the fundamentals of precision or accuracy type shooting. So all too often I see people come into shooting ranges and they grab a bullseye target or some type of target with a very small representation of a bullseye, a small X or something on the page, and they're relatively new to shooting, and they shoot and it looks like a shotgun went off, and all of a sudden they manage to hit the X, and they turn around and look at their friends and they're like, yeah, that was good. In my opinion, if you can't do it twice repeatedly, I don't care that you did it once on accident. It's much more important, in my opinion, for a newer shooter as far as strictly fundamental or precision type shooting, precision targets, to be comfortable with and be able to replicate over and over a fist size or a softball size grouping before worrying about hitting an impractically small target such as an X on a bullseye target. So what I've drawn down here is an X on a piece of paper and roughly a sideways fist or a baseball sized target. Once you can repeatedly produce shots within that group, then you can worry about exactly where it is on the page, maybe steering it over to the left to center it, or up and to the right to center, whatever you have to deal with from that point. But once you can produce rounds that fit into roughly a fist or a softball, baseball sized grouping, that means that you're controlling the deviation of the sights pretty well, you're eliminating a lot of the trigger jerk or potential trigger jerk, and you're producing all the fundamentals for precision or accuracy type shooting that you need to produce. Once you can do that, you start to tighten up the group. Once you've mastered that next, tighter shot group, maybe you're hitting the X at, say, about 15 feet where we are today, you go ahead and move the target out. Once you move the target down range and farther away from you, you can expect your groups to most likely expand back up, and you start that process over. A lot of times people will miss the target and they'll say, well, that was a bad bullet. I'll go ahead and put out a bad bullet here. We'll miss the target. All right, there you go. The next thing that I'll say is people are far too common and far too eager to beat themselves up over this was a good bullet and this was a bad bullet. What people define as a good or bad bullet is typically contingent upon whether or not they hit their intended target. Now, a hit is a hit and a miss is a miss. You can't justify your misses away, but in my personal opinion, the only bullet that you shoot out of that gun that is bad is the one that doesn't hit the paper anywhere. You see that I pushed one outside the circle there to show you guys what a miss looks like. I did miss the target, but that bullet, while still being outside my target area and determined as a miss by my brain, is still a learning opportunity. I can use that bullet and determine what I did wrong and look for things to change in the precision fundamentals of my shooting so that I can correct the mistake next time. I don't care if it was a bad bullet or a good bullet that came out of the gun. Once the bullet leaves the gun and hits the target, it's gone like yesterday. If it's a bad bullet and you miss your intended target, don't beat yourself up. Learn from it, make the adjustment for the next bullet. If it's a good bullet and it hits your designated target, that does not guarantee that your next bullet is going to follow suit. So again, learn from the bullets that are coming out of the gun, let the target tell you what you're doing wrong, make adjustments and corrections appropriately. Get out there, train safe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time, and we never quit.